I contacted 525 suppliers and I got 126 replies. That's a 24% reply rate. Most people send emails and never get a reply. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what to write to get your emails opened, get them read, and responded to so you can stop getting ghosted and instead book meetings with suppliers. My name is Marlon Peralta. I'm a key account manager with a consumer electronics company that does over $100 million a year. Before this, I ran a marketing agency for executive coaches. I built B2C funnels for e-com brands, and I've also helped raise over $800,000 for startups. And the skill I used over and over and over again was cold outreach. So I'm fairly confident that I can speak on how you can get your compelling message in front of the right people so you can pitch why they should work with you. All right, so let's get started. The two biggest mistakes in an Amazon business's outreach strategy. Number one is communication, and number two is positioning. In my last video, I talked about who to target and how to find their emails. The link is right here. This document and link is going to be below if you haven't watched that yet. Timeout. I have to give a quick shout out to Daniel Fazio, Christian Bonnier, and Matt Lucera from Client Ascension. As far as script writing goes, I learned a ton from them. So if you don't know them already, go check them out. Now, let's talk about what I wrote in those emails. Communication part 2, the foundations and principles. So number one, we have to have a compelling offer. And that's something that people actually want. It's going to do most of the work in driving the responses. And if you have something that they want and it's the right time for them, they're more likely to answer you. Number two, it's got to be easy to read and easy to respond to. People have short attention spans. If I open up an email and it's a block of paragraphs, I'm not going to read it and I'm probably just going to forget it and move on with my life. Number three, personalization is key. So we're not scaling here, okay? We're going to make sure that we're personalizing every email to the recipient and we're speaking directly to them. If they get a hint that the message was copy and pasted or the whole message campaign was automated, you're not going to get an answer. And last but not least, focus on what matters to them. Nobody cares about, the company story, the founder story, not in the context of a cold email. So that's not the place to put it. All right, next, writing the actual email. The first part is subject lines. The goal of the subject line is to have the person open the email. This might be a little bit counterintuitive than what you're normally used to. So what we want to do here is invoke curiosity and encourage them to take the next step. And here is to open up the email. So some examples here. The gold standard is quick question. Super popular in the cold email community. Imagine you open up your phone and you see a subject line that says quick question. It's just a quick question. I'm going to open it. I've gotten cold emails like that, and even though I know exactly what they're doing, I open it anyway. So quick question is really good. Making it less formal. Quick question, all lowercase, makes it seem even like a quicker question. Didn't even have time to capitalize the subject line. It's a really small detail, but it works. Next, so just their first name, Marlon, Corey, David, right? Just their first name. People are likely to open that email as well. You could do the same thing with the company name, question for the company name, question mark, even question for their first name. Another one that I've used also, thoughts, question mark. So like I said, this might be a little bit different from what you're used to, especially if you're taking what you've learned from formal education. So instead of talking about what looks good, we're talking about what actually works. And if you want someone to open your email, subject lines like these work. So test them out. I think you'll have better results from this. And, if you are actually tracking your email opens, you'll see that subject lines like these that are short, they invoke curiosity and they're encouraging them to take the next step. They get much better responses than those, formal subject lines like Amazon business partnership proposal. I know exactly what's in that email, by the way, and I might open it, skim it, and toss it, or not even open it. Okay, so components of the email when you open it. So if it's not included in one of these 5, don't include it. So we have number 1, the intro, number 2, personalization, the offer, case study, and the call to action, also known as CTA. So I have call to action and offer bolded because those are required. You don't need to have an intro. You don't have to have personalization, like a personalized compliment or something like that. Could help sometimes, something that you might want to test. You don't always have to have a case study either, but the offer and the call to action are extremely important, right? And remember, the goal here is for them to take the next step. So that call to action has to be really easy to understand and really easy to do. I used to have my call to action as, do you want to jump on a 15-minute call with me? And guess how many people took me up on that? 0. No one wants to get on a call with a stranger and waste 15 minutes of their day. So that call to action was scratched out to me pretty quickly. So what are some good call to actions? You could do things like, are you the person in charge of Amazon accounts? Are you taking on new Amazon accounts? Do you oversee the sales department? So these are like yes and no answers. A lot of call to actions that I personally get is, can you please send me your catalog? All right. If you think about that, what you're asking me to do is to log onto my system, check out my inventory, copy and paste it into the email, update all the prices so that they're appropriate for you. And that's actually a lot of work. So the likelihood of me doing that is very low, especially if I don't know you. So those are some examples of simple call to actions. What do you want to do here? You just want to get them to respond. That's what the goal is for your email, at least to start. Most people won't answer your first email. They won't answer your second email. They might not even answer your third, but they may answer your fourth or fifth after seeing you so many times. People are busy. People need to be reminded. So follow up, and after these 5 follow-ups, follow up again in 60 days. It might just not be the right time. So make sure you're following up. The FU money is in the follow-up. Okay, so here is the communication cadence that I recommend. So the first follow-up is in 3 days, second follow-up in 5 days, third follow-up in 7 days, the fourth follow-up another 7 days later, and then 3 weeks later, we do a 5th follow-up. So that's the communication cadence that I've used and I've had pretty good success with. So what do these follow-ups look like? So the first follow-up is just a simple reminder, okay? You could say, hey, just bumping this to the top of your inbox, just wanted to make sure you didn't miss it. Something simple like that is pretty effective, and I've used that and gotten plenty of responses just by following up once. The second follow-up, 5 days later. So you can provide more information about your offer. You could give them a case study of another brand or another distributor you've worked with and how you've helped them reach their goals. These components, case studies, personalizations, offers, you can use those in your follow-ups and also breadcrumb a little bit more about yourself, like very small introductions about yourself in those follow-ups as well. So instead of doing what I see most people do, which is create a huge paragraph of who they are, what they offer, and what their proposal is, instead break that up and just breadcrumb it throughout your follow-ups. I'm going to continue. Third follow-up, 7 days later, you could do a case study. You could do an audit of their storefront, for example, as well. Do a video. You don't actually have to pre-record the video. You could say, hey, I have a video for you. Can I send this over? Remember, we're just trying to get a response for them so that we can start a conversation. Fourth follow-up, again, case study. You could also ask them, hey, are you the right person? Changing up the call to actions a little bit. Are you the right person is a pretty easy CTA to respond to. And then the 5th follow-up, 21 days later, you could ask if now it's a better time. And like I said earlier, everyone who doesn't respond to your email, you recycle that list and try again in 60 days because maybe it just wasn't the right time and they just need to be reminded again. All right, so using these principles, I'm going to show you an example campaign that I ran. This is one of my first campaigns of the year. It's not exactly what I wrote out here, but it's got a lot of the same foundations, principles, and components that I just talked about. And this campaign was sent out to 724 people. 88 of those people replied. So 88 out of 724 contacts, that's a 12% reply rate. Personally, I want to shoot for at least 15%, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if you're getting the right distributor or getting the right supplier. So this was actually to retailers, and I got on the phone with a $750 million a year retailer and also a $500 million a year retailer. So even though I only got a 12% reply rate, the result that came out of it was awesome. Okay, so this was the script that I used. Hi, first name. I was looking for electronics distributors and retailers in your region. Do you oversee the purchasing decisions for your company? All right, so there's my short intro. And I had a very easy call to action. This call to action is either a yes or no, really easy to respond to, really easy to understand. Oh, is that me? Yes, how can I help you? So that was the main response that I got from people. Yes, how can I help you? So they've already emotionally invested into the conversation, so they're more likely to continue it as well. Okay. Follow-up number 1. So this is after they didn't answer me. I have a small intro here. Hi, first name. The reason I reached out the other day is because we can help you source your consumer electronics for cheaper. We have relationships with Apple, Sony, Samsung, HP, you name it. We get access to special bid letters and can get you the best pricing in the industry. Any interest in discussing this further? This was my intro. This was my offer. We can get access to special bid letters and can get you the best pricing in the industry. So the special bid letters part is kind of like a unique mechanism as well. So that makes it a little bit different from what other people are messaging them to. Follow-up number 2. I made a quick video to show you how you can help source your products for your company. Are you the right person to send this to, or should I send this to someone else? So I didn't make the video ahead of time. I just sent them this message, and then if they answered it, I would have made the video and sent them the video. But the $500 million retailer actually just picked up the phone and called me after getting that follow-up. And the $750 million a year retailer called me after this one. All right. Again, are you the right person to send this to, or should I send it to someone else? Super simple to respond to. Okay. Follow-up number 3. This is something that some of the cold email community has been using and has, it's gotten me some pretty good responses, and people have called me back on this as well. So it's just a detective emoji. Try it. It's funny. Kind of breaks the pattern of what people are expecting. And the last one here, hi, first name. Might now be a better time to discuss how we can help you improve your margins. If I were to go back in time, I would change this. I actually didn't get a lot of responses from this. I would change it to talking about how we can save them money. I put a case study in there like, hey, we've worked with another top 5 retailer and saved them 15% over what they paid for last time on a specific product. I'd say something like that. I would put in a case study. Yeah, so that's the script. That's the script for the email campaign that I used to get these 2 retailers on the phone. And there were a bunch of other responses as well. They're not as big, but definitely did some business with them. So as long as you're reaching out to the right people and the message is relevant to them and you have a good offer and you make it super simple to respond, you are much more likely to get responses. And that was part 2. In the next video, I'm going to go over positioning and answering the question in the supplier's mind. Why should I trust you? And that answer is outside of your email. So if you want to get that update, connect with me on LinkedIn and let's go. Happy buying.